and you can click on it and see. We'll be honest. Here's where we're, to the point of, green circle. Yes, we're making progress. We're where we need to be. To yellow, no, we're not. And we need to make some adjustments. To red, and hey, this is not working, and let's reassess and see where we need to be. Yeah, let's go up here.
I'm Hillary Goldston from Channel 13, and I'm a new weekend anchor, and we were buzzing in the newsroom when we heard the information that $30 million, there could be a $30 million deficit if this proration happens. So how confident do you feel that there really is going to be this proration? Because it sounded like there were some board members that felt like it may not actually happen.
Well, let me clarify one piece. The 30, that's not all proration. We're talking a combination of things. We're talking the pending, and we were told, everybody in the state school systems were notified, yes, there's a pending 3 to 5-6% proration that could happen. And the best information I have, yes, it's going to happen. It's a question of when and how much. And 1 point of proration is about $1.3 million for us. The other piece to that, as I mentioned, is the federal dollars, the stimulus dollars, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Program, all of those. So in total, in aggregate, we're talking about that in terms of proration, in terms of federal dollars that are going to leave, in terms of what we're anticipating with if it holds true with loss in students and that type thing. So it's an aggregate piece. So it's not just proration is going to cost. But that's why I say every school system in the state is going to be facing that same proration number. That percentage. Every school system in the state is going to be facing the same thing with the loss of federal dollars. Now, given some of our demographics, that number may be larger for us percentage-wise than some other districts that may have some different demographics. But mind you, every school system is going to be impacted. That's why I don't want Birmingham City Schools to be the poster child for proration, for those types of things, because everybody's, and I'm not being deflective either. Hey, don't blame me, look over there. I'm not saying that either. But let's keep it in perspective. And also on the loss in student population, I will say, yes, it impacts us. But we handle a lot of that through attrition. With student population, and of course, if we don't have the numbers, we're given fewer teacher allotments and all. So a lot of that kind of takes care of itself. And when we start to talk about reduction in force or any of those things, it's when attrition doesn't fully account for the loss in dollars. So it's a bigger picture. Again, we've had our eye on this for the last 6 months. And with plans, we've got some consolidations that are a part of our capital program. We're going to look at accelerating that in terms of we're doing some cost analysis of schools in certain size and how much that's costing us. Certainly if you look at a per pupil expenditure, a small school costs you more to operate than a school with more students. So what are the savings that can be gleaned from that and so forth. But my point is, or to answer your question, we're going to have to deal with it, and we will. But we're looking at those numbers. We've been looking at it for several months now, and we'll meet the challenge. And that's something that the administration, the board, and community will be working through these next couple of months.
Just one follow-up to that. What would go? I mean, you're so right. I graduated from Washington University, so I've been in D.C. I know, yeah. I've been in D.C. They have the same situations. I'm from Detroit, same.
Oh.
And so it's something that's happening certainly across the country, but what goes? What?
Well, that's the rub, quite frankly. My job as superintendent or as administration is to look at all of these pieces. Again, what are the size of our school? What's a size school we ought to have? What size should central office be? What programs are yielding benefit with regard to student achievement? Which programs or things aren't? And what do we need to take off the table? That's my job to look at and make recommendations to the board to say, here's the gap, here are the recommendations. And the rub becomes, well, don't close that school or don't get rid of it. That's where all the meat grinding comes in.
We have time for one or two quick more. Rebecca?
Can I just have a follow-up to her question? You mentioned that problems with probation and the lack of federal funding is common to schools across the state and across the country. Have there been any, and you mentioned that you all within the Birmingham City Schools have been looking into ways to deal with it, but have there been any efforts to, I guess, kind of collaborate among school systems across the state or across the country as to maybe new ideas about how to deal with the lack of funding rather than, I guess, kind of limiting it? I realize that every school system is different, but there may be, a better way to go about dealing with funding shortfalls.
Yes, we're a part of a group or consortium, if you will, the Council of Great City Schools, and it's made up of about 55, and this is just one example, 55 urban school systems across the country. And it's a really great network where superintendents of these districts can collaborate, finance officers in these districts that face similar issues in similar types of settings can talk about those things and learn from each other. And we've had that group into the district. Actually, we brought them in about 2 months ago to look at our service center and where we can be more efficient and effective with those types of things. So that's one way. Another thing that we've done and we're working more with, and I mentioned about our PLC work, our professional learning community work, and partnering more with our neighboring school districts with regard to professional development training, so that we don't have to send this district is sending teachers over here to go get some training. Our neighboring districts are sending teachers to the same thing and go get some training. Hey, let's have some regional things that are here that we can bring a national person in or to work with our folks. And we're hosting some training in Birmingham in the next couple of months, but not only bringing folks in, but capitalizing on the best practices and the people that we have to make sure that we're being most effective and efficient with our dollars. So that collaboration coordination is going on a lot of areas.
I think we're out of time, but thank you so much, Dr. Witherspoon. Dr. Witherspoon, I think you can tell by the number of questions, and I don't know your schedule, but maybe if you've got a couple minutes afterwards.
Sure.
If y'all want to come up afterwards, he may be able to answer a couple more. But as a token of our appreciation, we mentioned our Ready to Read program, and we talked about us getting out into the schools. A large number of our members still go out and read as reading buddies, where we've placed full libraries in every second grade classroom, and then our members go out and volunteer and read twice a month. So we try to get out as much as we can, and we always encourage our members to take more time to do so. So there are a lot of great things going on in the school system, and we appreciate your effort. We've made a donation to our foundation, which supports our Ready to Read project in your honor, and this certificate acknowledges that, as well as this annual report we'd like to give you, which gives more information about our club. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, everybody. And again, if you've got a few more questions, Dr. Witherspoon says he's got a few more minutes to come answer questions. Just briefly, we talked about our message board.